guys to yet another episode of Authentically Me. This is your girl Cree, coming to you with episode three. Three. Episode three, y'all. To yet another part of this journey and trying to figure out balancing, right? So this episode is gonna be about balancing everything, balancing ministry, balancing family, balancing life. And I just wanted to bring that to you. So I hope you guys enjoy. Before I get started on that episode, I wanted to just check in with you guys. Check in to see. I hope you enjoyed the first two episodes of this new revamped, redone episode of Authentically Me. So I hope you like the styling. I hope you enjoyed the content. I hope the content was something very interesting. And yet again, I'll be bringing you more things authentic, more things we can dialogue, more things we could talk about, more things that you think about just on a daily or just things that you think about throughout your life. So this episode is going to be about balance, balancing. And again, I got notes, y'all. We talked about it. I have notes. So let me figure out what my notes are, where they are. Let's talk about it now. So balance is something we talk about all the time, but rarely experience. Between faith, family, responsibility, personal growth, it can feel like something is always being neglected. So, in this episode, we're having an honest conversation about the pressures to do it all and what balance really looks like in real life. Not the perfect version we see online, but the grace filled rhythm that allows us to show up where God has placed us. So, if I look at the balance and we start with the first thing, faith. So for me, as I dive into faith, my faith is very strong. My faith is very important to me. I have been in, have a relationship with the Father since I could remember. I've been in church all my life, but to actually have a relationship with Him, I was 14 years old. Who knows anything about balancing at that time? Not me. I think it was just experiencing God and what that looked like in my little mind, in that little world, and what that really looked like at the time was just understanding who is this God? What is the expectations for me? What are my expectations for Him? And a lot of those things are found biblically. A lot of those things are found in the Word of God. And at 14, you're reading it, but you're not reading it with understanding. You're reading it because you're told to read it. You know what I'm saying? So that's kind of where my faith journey started. And we can dig into other things as it relates to faith, but I wanted to hit on a couple of other things. So if I'm looking at faith as well, I also want to take a look at family. So my next topic is family. So of course, everybody is aware that I was a teen mom. Being a teen mom, I had to learn to balance my time. When I had my son, I was 16 years old. So I had to balance school, high school, and then after school, I will go to work. And then my mom or family members will watch my son. So I had to learn to balance a lot of that as time went on. And then even now, so let's fast forward. Like we know the team out, we understand all of those things in balancing family. But even balancing now, my kids are a lot older. My son is 22 and my youngest is 7. So even balancing the time with her now, understanding her schedule, understanding she goes to school after school program. Her dad is very much so involved in her life. So learning to balance just the everyday life, learning to balance the co-parenting situation, just learning all of those that falls into the responsibility and the personal growth. When you look at faith and family, there is responsibility in both, as well as there's personal growth. I'm continually learning now. I'm learning so much of me in this time in my life. And what I'm learning about me is just how to navigate life and what life looks like now. As my kids are now older, there's a lot of things that's changed. Again, two girls are going to college. My son is 22 and that's 7-year old. That's a big life change itself. I'm still young. I mean, not 20 anything, but I'm still young enough to one day get married. I'm still young enough to find a new career. I'm kind of in that process now. going into a new career. So I'm just learning so much about me and so much about balancing life. That's even studying the Word of God and getting biblical knowledge as well as worldly knowledge, not in the sense of sinful worldly knowledge, but knowledge in just regular reading. So when you guys will be seeing this episode, it'll be after my book launching party. I'm so excited about that. So that's another avenue that I'm learning. I'm learning to put myself out there a lot more as it relates to this new journey of life. I want to do things new. I want to make myself available for what God has called me to, and that's setting up, women's events, doing public speaking. That's something I truly enjoy, and I'm so excited to get into. I want to do public speaking. That's another adventure or life change that I'm looking to bring into it. But again, I had to balance it. So I'm in the process of balancing all of that at the same time. But what that does is setting time management. What is important? So this season of my life is truly about what's important. And I have another thing I wanted to add to that. Sometimes balance isn't about doing everything equally. It's about recognizing the season you're in and giving yourself permission to move with wisdom instead of pressure. So that's what I'm learning. I'm going to move with wisdom and not pressure. It's about quality and not quantity. Learning to move in wisdom is very important when you think about it. So if I'm saying that I'm doing quality over quantity and also using my wisdom, I'm using everything that I've learned, everything that I've walked through to balance life out. So as I was talking about before, when it talks about like the transition of my children, when it talks about the new career choices that I want to do, when I talk about I want to do a lot of motivational speaking, all of that stems from a place of quality. I want to give quality to everything that I do. This podcast is something that I'm really putting focus into. I have to remind myself to be more consistent with it because I'm expecting to have an episode a week out. So that's why I want to balance everything in my life as it relates to family, as it relates to ministry, as it relates to career changes. I want to make sure that I give the most quality that I have and less about the sum total of what something is. So as I move into balancing everything out, when I take a look at what I think about balancing, I think balancing is so important to each and every person's life because what it does is allow the person to make rash decisions when they go about life things. So let's take a look at family. I touched on that. I talked a little bit about that. So let's go into a little bit more depth. So when I think about family, again, I'm a mother of four. So when you think about that, spending quality time for each of my kids is completely different for each one. For my son, is communicating. We talk about a lot of things, conspiracy theories, things he showed me online, me learning a lot from, him being almost 22 and the things that he's learning in the world because there are things that I just am so oblivious to. So quality time with him is us laughing, having understanding on what is important in his world. How can I connect with what makes him tick and what makes him who he is? And we have a dialogue back and forth. So when it comes to my daughter in college, she tells me about everything that's going on in college. Everything related to her friends, her classes, the things that she's doing, how life is going, what she plans on doing for this summer, and just really dealing with those things. My senior, she's talking about senior portfolio. She's talking about things that's important to her, working at her job, the way that she feels and loves herself, the way that she's coming into her own identity. I can tap on these things because I have quality relationship with my kids. My 7-year-old, she's 7, so that says enough for itself. But with her, everything is about her tablet. I stay on top of her when it comes to doing her homework, making sure she's on top of that because she would do her homework and would never turn it in. Every parent out there that knows what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. So I think the quality in family is where you know exactly what they need, how they need it, how they respond, how do they communicate. One is more serious than the other. One is more funny than the other. You just dialogue in that way. When I think about my faith is very important to me. if you know me, like if you really truly know me, or the parts that like you know of me, my faith and my ministry is very important to me. I've been in ministry for a very, very long time, and I love ministry. I love everything about ministry. I love everything from the pulpit to the front door. And I like to give quality in that. Am I perfect? Absolutely not. But my love and my joy for people, my love, my joy for ministry has always been there since I could remember. So I try to give as much of myself without doing performing. I know that that's been a big thing, especially when you've been through trauma in life. A lot of times you want to appear better than you really are. And I had to deal with it. I had to deal with being perfect or um shunning sin in the way that I make people think that I just, oh my gosh, sin is just so terrible. And it truly is. But I have to be honest with myself when it comes to ministry, that there are struggles in life. There are struggles for all of us. The Bible tells us that, we are drawn away by our own lust and desire, the book of James talks about. So going back into coming out of that, navigating that, ministry is very important to me. I can't wait to really give myself as much as I possibly can to ministry. But there's ups and downs. There's ins and outs. There are moments. This is a journey. You know what I'm saying? Ministry is a journey, just like life is a journey. So I love everything about ministry. Me being a minister of the gospel, me loving the Lord, me being a prophet in the Lord's church, as well as me just loving like the deep things of God. Me loving on people. I love women. Oh my God, I love women. I love to do things with women. I enjoy like speaking life into them, loving on them. I enjoy friendships. I enjoy everything related to ministry, giving them God, giving them me, all of that. So ministry, I want to get quality in ministry. And that's a process. That's not something you wake up and you do. That's not something that you learn overnight. It is comes with trial and error. Trial and error is what makes things perfect things or make things better. So I'm learning constantly that I will never be perfect, but I will always be progressing. I learned that from Mike Todd. Love him to death. Love him to life. When it comes to family, ministry, career wise, again, I'm in transition of career, but my aspiration is to speak the gospel, tell my story, travel the world, anything that requires me to open my mouth and actually speak and edify and glorify God and tell my, like, all of that is so me. And also on the other end of that, the enemy likes to also, I have to be careful with that because that is a gift and can be a curse, because when I'm hurt and I'm passionate, I can talk about things and I can give my opinion, and I can be very aggressive. I can be very opinionated. I can be very snarky, and I'm gonna be honest, it's about authentic, right? We gonna talk. Those are the things that I'm constantly working on, and I constantly remind myself that I have to be careful what I speak out of my mouth, what I'm speaking about. I'm growing in this, okay? Because there's been times in my life, even in ministry or in family, that life hasn't been perfect. Things have been crazy. So I'm probably everywhere. If you know me, that's who I am. But finding the quality and finding the wisdom behind what is important in life. And what's important in life at this stage of my life is to the betterment of me as a woman, me as a mom, and me as a businesswoman, and perfecting my craft. My craft is everything related to speaking engagements, speaking as oracles of God, speaking, being a better speaker. This is why this podcast is so important to me. It's so important to those that know me, because I want to give a better version of myself, and I want to have the aesthetics of, okay, maybe not aesthetics. So let me take a step back. I want to give the best version of Lucretia when I'm talking about authentically me. I want to give my perspective because I want others to grow from my mistakes, my purposes, my ups, my downs, my ins, my outs, my the things that I learned the hard way. I want to be able to give to the world because again, you're gonna often hear on this channel, we are won by the blood of the Lamb and the word of our testimony. And I say that because my testimony, many of testimonies of mine is not pretty. Many testimony of mine was birthed out of pain, was birthed out of hardship, was birthed out of trauma, was birthed out of just many things. And I want to give the good, the bad, and the ugly. And the reason why is because if we're going to talk about authenticity, we have to first deal with ourselves, right? We have to deal with the authentic version of who we are at this stage. Now, will that process grow? Absolutely. We're going to constantly grow. We're going to constantly. One thing that I enjoy in a different part of my life, I will not enjoy in the next part of my life. That's about the navigating of life. That's the navigating of ministry. That's the navigating of family. That's the navigating of career. That's the navigating of just relationship, all of the things. At one point, let's give an example. So at this phase in my life, I'm content. And I'm content in many areas. And I don't want to give into too much because it'll go into other topics. But I'm content, and I'm learning to be more content. Another one of the things I'll give is my identity. My identity has been under attack for a very, very long time. That's going into another subject, but I want to tap on that a little bit. And it's because I'm learning that I'm actually better than the experience that I've accepted. I've trauma bonded in many areas, and I'm learning that that's not okay. So that's why I'm saying that balancing me as an individual and learning myself, learning how to navigate, again, I'm going to reiterate, family, kids, ministry, relationship. I'm learning balancing that now. I don't have it perfect, but I'm learning it step by step through many errors. Okay, many. Okay, so that's kind of what I wanted to tap into a little bit. So for that, I hope you guys completely understand the balancing of. So when I take a look at personal growth, right, because that was one of the topics that I discussed. Personal growth for me and the pressures that come with that. For a person like me who is an overthinker, I put so much pressure, so much pressure on myself. And I put pressure on myself again. I have to be honest, I tapped sometime into the trauma of my life and the trauma of at one point wanting to be so perfect and having the perfect image. That stems, of course, from being a teen mom. And it was hard for me. I was 16 and pregnant. I was 16 when I had my son. I was 21 when I had my girls. So I'm sorry, y'all, look at me just fidgeting. I apologize. But it was challenging. It was challenging because that was never the life that I wanted to live for myself. So personal growth and knowing that is a trauma response, as far as me being an overthinker and all the things, I am learning to balance out even my personal growth. Like, don't put so much pressure on myself. If today I was supposed to, I'm gonna super exaggerate, okay? If today I'm supposed to pray 5 times and then I only pray 2 times, that's pressure. First of all, where did I get 5 from? Why was that the number? Is it the number of grace? Of course, but why is that something that I put pressure on myself to do? Why didn't I just love God, speak to God throughout the day? Why did not, you know what I'm saying? Instead of adding all the extras on top of that, question your why. Oh, that's good. Question your why. Why am I doing this? Why is this important? Why is this something that I think is so necessary today? Question your why, because your why is going to get to the reason. Why am I doing it? What is the base root? Is it from trauma? Is it from wanting to grow, be a better person? Is it from anything? Question your why is always an important thing to do. And learning to balance the why. Why? Why? Why did I do the podcast? Why did I revamp the podcast? Who I was originally when I first started this podcast was somebody that I'm not now. I was on the journey of writing my book. I wanted to document the growth of who I was, and just the things that I went through in life, because that was something I wanted to do. On the other end, now that I've created the book, I still want to journey who I am, but I want to talk more about what it is on the other side of being an author, as well as the process of the growth and the healing that I went through as that person. The little girl that showed up a lot during the process of writing my book. The wars in my mind, like the battles that I dealt with, I don't deal with often. Do I still question things? Am I still an overthinker? Am I still Lucretia? Yes, but I'm more positive now. I'm a different person. Not, I'm sorry, I'm an evolved person. I am a more positive person. I'm a more person of accepting. I always see different perspectives. I'm seeing more different perspectives. It's always a higher up, like, and there's more. The levels, and there's more. In the words of Mr. Leaks that was just at our church, and there's more, and there's more, because there is more. There's so much more to the growth of who you are, and finding that balance of where you are in life. Put distance between the old you and the progressing you. Putting that balance puts perspectives against the old you and the you that is growing. And I'm learning to balance. Okay, this came from that 16-year-old. Okay, how do I grow this area and bring it in now to the adult? Oh, that's the adult, and she doesn't understand that the 16-year-old was traumatized. Like, traumatized, I'm sorry. So you have to always remember, give yourself grace in the process, give yourself grace in the failed attempts to growing you, give yourself grace in just learning yourself, because God knows who you are. You are learning who you are in different phases of your life. And that alone requires grace. That alone requires you to find that even balance. And also having a community of people around you that will love you through the times that you aren't happy with yourself. And for me, my kids are those, my friends are those, and the people that I love in ministry that lets me know, like, Lucretia, I love you. Um, Sometimes it's hard to receive. It's very hard to receive, but that's another topic for another episode. But balancing. So I hope that this was a help to my audience. I hope that you enjoyed it. I hope that you come back for the next episode, because it's going to be yet another topic for me that's important, and another topic for me that makes me say, why did I think of that? Why is that important? Why is that part of being authentic? Why is that topic being authentic? Why is that so important to me? I heard something today that I seen on YouTube by this guy, and he said, why always remember that other people's opinions matter, right? And why that is important to them. So if I can understand why it's important to me, others can understand why certain things are important to me, and I can understand why some things are important to you. So I hope that makes sense. I hope that makes sense, and I hope that you're finding grace, you're finding balance, you're finding wisdom in all the areas that are important to you, and you're giving yourself just that time to grow and continually go on this journey. Because again, this is a journey. This is a journey, and there are many highs and many lows. There are many peaks and there are many valleys. There are many rocks on the journey. There are many detours on the journey. There are many things. There are many beautiful scenery things on the journey. And that is what it's really about. All the life lessons that we learn on this journey called life, and to make sure that we understand that We are here to support each other, love each other, and grow with each other. Okay. So I love y'all. I'll see y'all on the next episode.